the ones after it.
So this is to all your Muhammad friends out there in the bodegas. No, not bodegas. What do they call them? They call them bodegas. On the Aki, you know, assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam, all that stuff. Yeah. These are their ancestors.
These are their ancestors. These are their ancestors. These are their ancestors.
Give me the next one. Read it, Yuri.
Okay. This is where he's telling a lie. The people who call themselves Arabs today are not the same people who are being referred to in this historical reference. It is a fact that the Jews were also a part of this slave trade. They headed it up. They had the most slaves, okay? And we're not talking about the white people that are in Israel today. We're talking about original black Jews. Now, he calls himself an Israelite leader, but we're going to show where he's not telling the truth. Okay, Pirkei the Rabbi 24 clearly shows us. Okay, Barak Leshem wa Libani Shakurim. Okay, so the sons of Shem, which includes Israelites and Arabs and Persians, etc., they were black according to the Talmud. So no, those people that we see in history as the slave traders, the Islamic slave traders, the Arab slave traders, they were Jews and other Shemites. And for that matter, all ancient people were slave traders. Okay? So once again, this is just a narrative to support Nate's BS.
So we find in the Quran, as Muhammad said, لَتَجِدَنَّ أَشْهَدَ النَّاسِ عَدَوَاتًا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الْيَهُودَ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. So the strongest men in enmity, hatred, pure hatred, to the believers wilt thou find the Jews and the pagans. And this is what we see. They rally against faith. They rally against the prophet. What were the Jews doing prior to the coming of the prophet? In the time of ignorance, we did worse than this. We worshipped idols and images until Allah honored us with an apostle and with Islam. So let's look at the testimony. Let's look at the testimony of a Jew who came from Syria. And his name was Ibn al-Hayban. Okay? Let's skip on down to the part about his death. Later, his death came while he lived with us. When he knew he was dying, he said, "O Jews, what do you think it was that brought me from a land of wine and bread to one of poverty and hunger?" "You know that best," we replied. He then said, "I only came to this country because I expected the arrival of a prophet whose time is near. This land is where he will take refuge. And I had hoped that he would be sent so that I could follow him. His time is near for you, but don't hasten to him, O Jews, for he is sent to shed the blood and capture the women and children of those who oppose him. And that hurrying to him will not prevent him treating you thus." And when the messenger of Allah ﷺ was sent, he besieged Banu Qurayza, those grown men who had been young boys at the earlier occasion, addressed their people saying, "O Banu Qurayza, he is by Allah, the prophet foretold to you by Ibn al-Hayban." They replied, "He is not." The men insisted, saying, "Yes, he is. He has just the description." So they went down and accepted Islam, and by doing so saved their blood, their property, and their people. Ibn Ishaq commented, "This account reached us from the Jewish rabbis." So let's look at why was it that Muhammad was shedding blood amongst the people? There's a reason for it. And let's look at what was said. So to bring some understanding to the mission of Muhammad and the wars that he fought against his own people, the Jews, was because this is what was commanded in the Torah against people who practice witchcraft. They were not to be allowed to live. In the time of ignorance, we did worse than this. We worshiped idols and images until Allah honored us with an apostle and with Islam. So this verse from the Bible confirms what Muhammad says and confirms the narrations that we hear about our own people. Then the chief priest and the elders of the people assembled in the palace of the high priest, whose name was Caiaphas, and they schemed to arrest Jesus secretly and kill him. But not during the festival, they said, or there may be a riot amongst the people. These same ones who claim today to be followers of Yeshua are the same ones who plotted to kill him in the past. These are their descendants. So let's hear what Abdullah bin Salam, who was also an Israelite, and he was from the priestly class. I was told the story of Abdullah bin Salam, a learned rabbi, by one of his family. He said, "When I heard about the apostle, I knew by his description, name, and the time at which he appeared that he was the one we were waiting for. And I rejoiced greatly thereat, though I kept silent about it until the apostle came to Medina. Medina was a city that was populated by Jews. When he stayed in Quba among the bin Amr bin Auf, a man came with the news while I was working at the top of a palm tree, and my aunt Khalida al-Harith was sitting below. When I heard the news, I cried Allahu Akbar, and my aunt said, 'Good gracious, if you had heard that Moses bin Imran had come, you could not have made more of a fuss.' 'Indeed, aunt,' I said, 'he is the brother of Moses and follows his religion, being sent with the same mission.'" Okay? And that's the mission in which these false Israelites today who have joined the Antichrist speak against and act against and teach against. She asked, "Is he really the prophet who we have been told will be sent at this very time?" And she accepted my assurance he was. Straightway I went to the apostle and became Muslim. And when I returned to my house, I ordered my family to do the same. I concealed the matter from the Jews. Why? Because they're the most staunch in hatred and unbelief. And then went to the apostle and said, "The Jews are a nation of liars." Okay? And they still are to this day. "And I wish you would take me into one of your houses and hide me from them. Then ask them about me so that they will tell you the position I hold among them before they know that I have become Muslim. For if they know it beforehand, they will utter slanderous lies against me." The prophet housed me. The Jews came, and the apostle asked them about my standing among them. They said, "He is our chief." They said, "He is our chief and the son of our chief, our rabbi, and our learned man." When they said this, I emerged and said, "O Jews, fear Allah and accept what he has sent to you. For by Allah, you know that he is the apostle of Allah. You will find him described in your Torah and even named. I testify that he is the apostle of Allah. I believe in him. I hold him to be true, and I acknowledge him." They accused me of lying and reviled me. Then I reminded the apostle that I had said that they would do this, for they were a treacherous, lying, and evil people. I publicly proclaimed my conversion, and my household and my aunt followed suit.